Hey guys, I'm back with some POE 2 content, and in this video I want to show you my bleeding Huntress leveling build. I have seen some YouTube videos for this kind of build already, but I have to say most of them felt pretty clunky to me. So yeah, I want to share you my variant, and here my goal was to just use only one skill if possible. So the skill is Rake, and it's the skill that causes bleeding. So like you can see, all we actually have to do with this build is we have to use Rake once, and then we can just leave the pack and the enemies will die on the way. Except for when we are fighting elite packs like this one here, so blue monsters or yellow rare monsters. There we have to, of course, spend a little bit more time in the combat. And also this is a mistake I did in my previous campaign run. I think I should have used also the exploding spear way more often during the blue and yellow packs, just because the fight takes too long otherwise. But you can see the white mobs, so 90% of the time you're just running. I'm also using shield charge here for more mobility. And Rake is also very good for mobility, so it also deals more damage if you are more far away from enemies. And so all you have to do is just Rake usually one time into a group of enemies if they are kind of far away from you. And then they will just die from the bleeding like I mentioned. So yeah, this is basically the gameplay loop here. Yeah, pretty easy and straightforward. Works very well in Act 1 and 2. I just have finished Act 2, so I can't tell you anything about Act 3, but I guess it should stay the same. And I can also show you some boss fight, maybe. He was a quite difficult boss, I have to say, so we can go back a little bit. I think I also died here like once, but I think I was successful in the second run. So this boss is very dangerous because it has a one-shot mechanic. But as you can see here, the boss fight is also we have very good damage, and all of the damage comes from my basic spear attack basically. So this is the skill with the highest single target DPS. So the skill rotation looks like this. I start with Stormcaller's Arrow. I need the projectile skill in order to get more damage with my melee skills. This is because of the passive tree, but also we have one support gem. Then I follow up with Rake to start bleeding. I also deal more melee damage with or against bleeding enemies. But then the rest of the damage just comes from spamming my spear basic attack here. And you can see that boss damage is kind of nice. So the combination of projectile, bleeding, and simple basic attacks for melee damage is usually just enough for Act 1 and Act 2 bosses. The endgame boss in Act 2 is kind of rough. I had some attempts there, but I was also underleveled. I killed him at level 30. And I can also show you this maybe at the end of the video, depends of how long this will get. But yeah, here you can see it's pretty good. Most of the bosses just die with this simple combination. So yeah, let me quickly check. So here you can actually see I defeated the end boss here, and I'm level 30, so kind of underleveled. But let's maybe jump back to some more gameplay, or actually no, let's just stay here. I will go over my skill gems. So also for this video, I know many of you guys just check for the skill gems very quickly and just leave. But for this video it's a good idea to stay a bit longer, because I will also go into details of how you can actually speedrun through the campaign, and especially in Act 1. So I will show you the exact timings for when you should pick up what skill, and also level what you should level in the passive tree. So you should stay a bit longer in this one. But anyways, so here first I will show you all of my support gems and skills. So the main skill that applies bleeding and makes this bleeding build function is Rake. So like you saw in the gameplay, it's just enough to hit enemies with Rake one time, and then they will usually die from the bleeding. You just move away, they will follow you, they will take even more damage because they're moving. This is how bleeding works. And everything will just die. So you usually need only one strike of Rake. And here we have Brutality and Pursuit. So Brutality just increases physical damage and yeah, makes the bleeding effect bigger. And Pursuit also increases melee damage, but for that you need to also use projectile skills once every 8 seconds. So for that reason, I really like to play with Stormcaller Arrow in the beginning. Stormcaller Arrow also applies shock effects to enemies, which makes them take 20% more damage, so this is very useful in boss fights. During the normal packs, sometimes it's better to just switch to something like either a regular bow shot, just because the attack speed is quicker. So Stormcaller's Arrow has a little bit slower, but actually here it's not really slow. I'm not sure what's going on here. So in theory it should have a slower attack speed, but I just realized it's actually not really slow compared to bowshot. So anyway, forget bowshot, you just need Stormcaller Arrow. So you cast it once every 8 seconds, and then your pursuit support gem gets activated, and your rake deals also additional melee damage, which also increases your bleeding. So yeah, these are the best 2 support gems in my opinion for rake, which makes rake basically one-shot ability for white trash mobs at least. Then versus bosses, like I mentioned, Spear Step is just enough. This is our basic attack spear attack. And here we have Martial Tempo for more attack speed, and also Bloodlust for more melee damage against enemies that are bleeding. So here you can see the combination of making enemies bleed with Rake and then stabbing them with Spear Stab and dealing more damage to bleeding enemies is a very solid damage foundation. Then for Stormcaller's Arrow we also have Lasting Shock to make the shock duration last longer, and conduction to even more chance for shocking. So especially in the early game you will basically shock everything with the skill, but the longer you play, so especially in Act 2 and I also believe in Act 3, you will less likely shock with Stormcaller's Arrow because your damage is just not that great maybe with your bow attacks in general, so conduction is also very good here. And this is actually the core of the build, so you just need Rake, Spear Stab, and Stormcaller Arrow. So at least for Act 1 and beginning of Act 2. Then later with Act 2, like I mentioned, I also think that the Explosive Spear is a very good addition, because the greatest weakness of this build is fighting boss packs, or fighting elite packs, because they will not die instantly from Rake. So for that reason, if you fight an elite pack, you should use Explosive Spear. So then your rotation looks like this, you just throw 2 Explosive Spears, Rake, or you can also start with Rake and then shoot your Explosive Spears, Rake again. So you just basically make a 2-skill rotation between Rake and Explosive Spear. Another skill that I tried lately is Blood Hunt, but I'm not really sure on this one. You don't really need this for like 90% of the time. Maybe you can use it also when you are fighting packs for more AoE damage, but actually Explosive Spear also deals kinda a lot AoE damage. So here I have like 562 right now. Blood Hunt would give me 600, so it's very similar in terms of damage. And here I also have like Hourglass and Lightning Infusion on, so it also has a cooldown and deals more damage this way. So I'm not really sure on Blood Hunt, you can try it out, but it's not really needed for the build. But Explosive Spear is a very good addition in order to fight better these elite packs. Then I also want to make one last suggestion. So instead of Spear Stab as your melee skill, you can also use Rapid Assault. Rapid Assault, I just used it versus the Act 2 end boss. It was a very difficult fight, and here I just wanted to get a little bit more damage out of the build. So Rapid Assault gives you a bit more damage, then you just have to swap basically your support gems from Rake into Rapid Assault. And also switch like your Spear Stab for Rapid Assault. This will cost more mana, so you might run into mana issues here, but the idea here is that you just can make a combination of 2 Explosive Spears into Rapid Assault. So the Explosive Spears will detonate your Rapid Assault, which also applies bleeding. So here you also apply bleeding with your Final Strike. And you can also trigger this Final Strike, like the spear, into explosion from your Explosive Spears, and they will also deal some more damage. So Rapid Assault instead of your basic Spear Step is an option that you can go for, but only versus very difficult bosses this is really needed, like the Act 2 end boss. But yeah, these were the support gems and the skills. This is how my passive tree looks like. So I went straight for the line here, just picked up some nodes here on the way, some nodes here, but then I just went straight into this roll and strike, precision point, focused thrust, so all of this spear nodes here. So yeah, very simple, very straightforward, just picking up all the damage on the way. And now, like I mentioned, for everyone who wants to learn in the details of how you can start with the setup in Act 1, so maybe you're just starting to level your Huntress build, or your Huntress with this build, then I have some very useful information. So let me quickly switch up to some other gameplay here. So here, 1 second. Why can I? Okay. So I just want to increase the speed here a bit. Speed. Okay. So this is like my campaign run through. It took me around 2 hours, which is way longer than I expected. But I think overall it's still pretty good for season start, and like it's a new build, I had to learn it, and so it's kind of okay. But around 2 hours, and I think with some effective or efficient pathing and gameplay, you can significantly decrease this time. But anyways, my point is here, I want to give you guys another help for the start. So what you can see here is I have made this Excel sheet that I can share with you. And here you can see all the skill gems that actually guaranteed dropped in the Act 1 campaign. So the way how the campaigns in POE 2 work is that you have certain locations and also enemies like bosses, which grants you guaranteed items and also skill gems. So you will have some amount of support gems and skill gems. I also actually have calculated this. So here you have like in Act 2, in Act 1, sorry, you have 2 level 1 skill gems, you have 2 level 2 skill gems, 2 level 3, 2 level 4, and 1 level 5 skill gem. So you have a total of like 9 skill gems here, and a total of 6 support gems. Actually, I think it should be 7. I made a mistake here. There's one location that I missed. So let's say you have 7 support gems. And so here what I did is I just visualized the locations. Sorry, here the locations where this skill and support gems drop, and also what level this skill or support gems gives you. And here I already have planned the perfect setup for this bleeding build if you also want to start with a Huntress as your first leveling build. Then here's the order of what skills you should take. So for example, in the Clearfell camp and the Clearfell, so this is like the first zone, you can see me right now. Here you will have guaranteed two guaranteed level 1 skill gems. And the first one will be Frostbomb, and the second one will be Disengage, which we just use as a mobility skill basically, or to escape dangerous situations. But you can see here in the gameplay, so actually Frostbomb is my starter skill in order to clear the minions or the mobs here. So you can see we just can place the bombs and the enemies will just die when they walk into the bombs. So we kind of start off as a caster, not like a Huntress. We are not using the spear, but just the Frostbomb. But don't worry, this won't last long. This is just until you get your first level 3 skill gem. But yeah, so here you can just see the idea. We get Frostbomb, Disengage. The green ones, by the way, are the ones that you cannot skip. So these usually are like campaign bosses that you need to accomplish in order to proceed with the campaign. And everything that is not green means that it's optional. So you don't have to do all of it. But in this setup, we are focusing on actually clearing all of the bosses and doing all of the content here. So you can see here if you decide to also go for the Mud Burrow, so to defeat the Devourer boss. Then you should pick up your second Frostbomb. So for that reason, you also need some more intelligence. This has an intelligence requirement of 9 int. So for that reason, what we take in the passive tree is 1 intelligence node actually. So I can also go back into the game here. So this would look like this. You start with your attack damage, and the second passive skill tree node would be +5 intelligence here, this one. Okay, just because we need this as a requirement for our Frostbomb level 2. So then you will pick up Frostbomb level 2. In the Clearfire camp, the Renly NPC will also give you another support gem after you have defeated the boss from the Mud Burrow. And this will be your first support gem, which is Martial Tempo. You just put it into your basic spear skill, and this will make your single target damage versus bosses a lot better and faster. But yeah, here you just get the idea. So everything that you get here, so you get a support gem from Gravelwood, this is from the Witch, or you get a level 2 skill from the boss in Gravelwood, which is this plant tree based boss. I actually don't know the name. So here you can see what skills you pick up at what stage. And Rake is a level 3 skill, so we can pick it up with our first level 3 skill gem, which we get after defeating the boss in the Red Vale. I think it's called the Rust King. So after defeating the Rust King, you will get your first level 3 skill gem, and then you will switch into this Rake build. And by that time you also already have another support gem, which is Brutality, so this will also go straight into Rake. And you will also find the next support gem very fast after defeating the Red Vale boss, which is found at the Grimtangle, the Druid boss. And there you will take your Pursuit, and now you already have your kinda core skill, core build for the Bleeding Huntress, which is Rake with Brutality and Pursuit, and Spear Stab with Martial Tempo. And later on you will also get the Bloodlust. So this already enables this build, and yeah, I think this is a very good setup to start the campaign. So I will link down this Google Sheet in my in my description of this YouTube video. So just keep in mind, here are all the skills like I explained, and here you can see the passive tree and also the order of what to skills. So we start with attack damage, then we go into int. Again, attack damage, then we take 5 dexterity, 5 strength, primal node, melee damage, stalk node. So I think it's pretty self-explaining. You just have to check your your passive tree. And yeah, this is the best setup for Act 1. And after Act 1, this is pretty easy. You just play, you just pick up whatever you find. You will find more skill gems, you will find more support gems. You don't need such a guide for Act 2, but especially for Act 1, this can be very helpful. What you can also find in this Google Sheet that I will share with you is that you have something like these different points of interest in the acts. So for example, you get pretty useful stuff during the acts besides from skill gems and support gems. So for example, the first boss, Beira, in the Clearfire encampment will give you 10% cold rest for the rest of the game. So basically forever. You should definitely pick this up. Also, you will have some locations which give you 2 skill points. So in the hunting grounds, this is the Crawlbear boss, or in the farmlands, there's Una's hut, which will drop an item, which will give you also 2 skill points. So these points of interest are also very helpful to know. Also 8% max life at the Count Manor, and Spirit from the Freythorn boss. And I did this actually for every act here. And so yeah, you can just also take this as a guide for the campaign in POE 2 in general, and where you can find all of this useful stuff. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, this is basically what I wanted to share with you. Now I can also skip a bit of the parts here and can show you what I was talking about previously. So for example, after defeating the Rust King, I'm not really sure when I was finished with it, I think somewhere around here. Yeah, so here, after defeating the Rust King, here you can see the boss fight, we will get the level 3 skill gem, and we will pick up Rake. So I can also skip a bit here. So here you can see, we have our first level 3 skill gem in the inventory. You can see it here. So then we skill to Rake. And maybe I can also show you one boss fight at the end, something like this. Something like maybe, yeah, the Executioners, just so you can see that it's really no problem also fighting the early Act 1 bosses with this build. So again, Stormcaller's Arrow, Rake for bleeding effect, and then just spam your Spear. basic attack, and you can see the boss just melts. So especially for the early game, this build or this bleeding setup is very, very powerful. So yeah, I think with some optimized pathing and if you know what you're doing, you can finish the campaign in between 1 to 2 hours. Sorry, the first act in between 1 to 2 hours. Okay, so yeah, that was actually the build and everything I wanted to share with you right now. I will also update this build since I will progress in Act 3 and also go deeper into the game and be closer to the end game at some point. So I think I will also update this build. But for now, this is everything I wanted to share with you. And yeah. One last thing. I also wanted to show you the last boss fight. So this will be the end of the video. Maybe not the entire boss fight, but a little bit, so you get an idea of how to also use the other skill. So instead of basic spear, we can also use the rapid assault. So I just wanted to also show you this one. So here I'm using rapid assault instead of the spear basic attack for the Act 2 end boss. And this is a very hard, difficult end boss fight, I have to say. So here I was a bit challenged by the game here. But yeah, you can see here we can also use this rapid assault and also deal with some amount of damage here. And yeah, actually I realized this is I think I was dying here. This was my first attempt. I killed him at the second attempt of the setup. But yeah, anyways, so here you can see I was also defeating this boss here with the setup. And yeah. This is everything I wanted to show you, maybe also my items real quick. So here I have a weapon that looks like this. I'm level 30, so nothing too crazy. The +2 level of melee skills is pretty good, but I think I could have a better weapon at this point. And that's basically all. The rest of my gear is nothing special at all. The only cool thing where I was lucky is finding this helmet here, which grants me rage on melee hits, so this is pretty cool. But everything besides that and this okay weapon, I don't really have very good gear. So yeah, just as a proof that this build really works as it should. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you can kinda enjoy the season. I know many players are having problems with it and the game is very difficult right now. But I hope this guide helped you as usual, and I hope I see you in the next one. Until then, have a nice day and bye bye.